Okay, so today we started talking about estimation, and the big thing we talked about in class today was rounding. All right, it plays a significant part when we get to estimate. Remember, we are just trying to be close. Okay, no exact answers. So we looked at two different examples today in class. One with decimals, and we said if we wanted to make sure that we just got close, we could just go to the nearest integer. All right, and if we were going to go to the nearest integer, then that means we would look at the first place after the decimal point. And we came up with our rules, 6. Okay, we had two sets of rules that we came up with. If it is 5 or more, we round up. Some classes said add 1. Okay. Some classes said 5 or more, we go 1 more. Whatever version you appreciate, they all work. All right, but this is the 6 is 5 or more, then this will now become 15. The 3 was the second part of our rule, and if it's 4 or less, some classes said to round down. Some classes said keep it the same. Other classes, 4 or less. Let's see, 5 or more, go 1 more. 4 or less. I forget. Keep it. All right, so since this is less than 4, we're just going to keep that as a 7. We're going to apply our little integer rule. Minus minus is equivalent to plus. 7 is 5 or more, so we're going to add 1 more to make that a 7. So now we have 15 times 14. So we end up with an approximation of about 210. About 210. All right, so that was the first example we looked at in class. The second example we looked at in class centered around fractions. How do we deal with fractions? All right, and if we look at our two rules above here for rounding, they're nice if we can just look at an integer, but when we start looking at fractional parts, that definitely changes things a little bit, because you know, if we look at this as 3 out of 7, that means one thing, but if we look at 3 out of 4, that means something completely different. So we can't just say, well, look at the 3 and apply your rule. Well, there's more to it than that. That's not going to be enough for us. All right, so what we ended up deciding in class is it's not so much these numbers, but for fractions, we just need to look at this in terms of 1/2, not digits. Okay, so we need to compare 3/7 to 1/2. If it's more than 1/2, we round up. If it's less than 1/2, then we're going to keep it the same. Okay, so again, if we look at 3/7, half of 7 is 3.5. 3 is less than 1/2, so we're going to keep it the same. Again, same setup. Half of 7 is 3.5. 1 is definitely less than that, so we're going to keep it the same. Half of 12 is 6. 9 is more than that, so we get to add 1 more, so this is going to go to 13. So now we got 6 minus 13, which is -7. 2 times -7, which is -14. All right, so again, this is all about approximating with integers and or fractions. All right, do the best you can on your homework, and we'll check it tomorrow. Have a good night.